Justin Trudeau was front and center for New York's investors and business community, answering questions about the Canadian economy. He had a quick face-to-face with Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York and the head of Bloomberg News. But while he was speaking to an American audience, he did have a tidbit for Canadians watching at home, and that is a preview of next week's budget. And the Prime Minister says they are going to fulfill a campaign promise, and that is to keep the age of eligibility for old age security at 65. Now, you'll recall that the Conservative government under Stephen Harper had promised to extend that to 67, saying that that puts less pressure on social services because people are living longer. But the Prime Minister says that that's a simplistic solution for a complex problem, so they're going to keep it at age 65. Now, another topic that came up quite a bit was Canada's deficit spending, borrowing to spend on infrastructure, and that was something that got quite a good reception here because they feel that that's something American governments should be doing with interest rates as low as they are. And the Prime Minister shared an anecdote from the election campaign where he talked about deficits and how the Canadian people bought into it. Here's what he had to say.
The left-wing New Democratic Party had announced that they were going to balance the budget at all costs, just like the Conservative government. The day we said, no, it's time to invest in the future of our country, and they confirmed they weren't, I got home to my wife and I said, I'm pretty sure we just won the election.
Another question that follows the Prime Minister everywhere he goes in the U.S., both here and in D.C. last week, is what does he think of Donald Trump and the possibility of a Donald Trump presidency? Well, he skirted around the issue quite a bit, but did go into a little bit more detail. Here, asked if he would have any common ground with Donald Trump as president, he said he would, that both would look for good jobs for their people and that finding an economy that works for everyone is an issue on both sides of the border. When pressed again about Donald Trump and pressed to say more, here's how the Prime Minister answered that question.
I have tremendous confidence in Americans' capacity to get the right result through their electoral system.
Even if that result is Mr. Trump.
Well, you know, as anyone who recently lost an election will attest to, this was a win for democracy, is the line we pull forward. I think we're going to see what Americans are made of.
Well, in addition to answering and sometimes not answering questions about Donald Trump, the Prime Minister also sat down at a round table with Canadian businesswomen. That's been a recurring theme here on this trip, talking about gender equality. And after that, well, that wraps things up, and he's heading back to Ottawa this afternoon.